One thing that I know for sure, you can't convince a Forester enthusiast or a Subaru Forester owner that there is any other better generation of the Forester, better than the Subaru Forester SG. All over the world, they believe that there has never been a better Subaru Forester ever built better than the Forester. And their reasons are quite interesting and simple. And today we are going to have a conversation on our midweek review where we get to dissect the SG Forester and get to take home the points around, does it really fit into the legacy that the Forester owners say? And does it offer you, in case you're planning to buy a car for anything between 800 to 1 million Kenya shillings, a car that can give you versatility, comfort in the space, the interior, a bit of an adventure, and it will bring back the nostalgia of owning a proper Subaru. So without further ado, boys and girls, welcome to this epic special review of the Subaru Forester SG. If you haven't subscribed, this is the point where I'll ask you, please, the road to 200,000K, side to Mengia 193. And YouTube tells me that 49.5% of you have not yet hit that subscription button, and I don't know why. And yet you're enjoying this video. So you're all the way from Uganda, Tanzania, South Africa. I can see your numbers there hitting a very good number. So I'm requesting you, courtesy of the entire team at Conversation, please hit the subscription button, put the notification on, and leave us a like and a comment, because yeah, we are going back in time to discover the energy, the vibe, and the goodness of what a proper Subaru offered back in time. So let's get into this review of the Subaru Forester SG. Imebidi niketi kitako ndio niwape historia ya Subaru Forester. Oh, guys in Uganda, South Africa and the rest, I'm saying that we are going back in time to understand why even the Forester was brought into play. This is here the fun fact. The Outback was put out in the market first before the Forester. Most people think it's the other way around. So back in the day, Subaru will adopt a good car, then they will create something on top of that car to serve a different market. So whereas the Outback was best of a Subaru legacy, that is the same way an Impreza was made to come up with the Forester. But everything was not straightforward, as I said. So the Outback was meant to cater for an older audience, a bigger audience that had a bigger family and they wanted to go out for adventure. But then the dynamics of how the market was working back then is guys had shifted from a station wagon that offered utility and sporty activity out of it to now buying the CRVs, the Toyota RAV4s, you remember those? The Suzuki Escudos, stroke Vitara. And of course, Subaru being Subaru, they're like, no, we can't remain behind. We have to swing and go into action. But one thing that they did, that most of those other people did do, is come up with a car that will offer two things. One, a sporty adventure drive, and two, still feel like a car. In fact, that was a tagline that the Forester was marketed with. And that gave birth to the first generation of the Subaru Forester, which was what we refer to as the SF. Boxy, beautiful car. When it came on the market, it was one of the best cars to buy at that time because it came standard with all-wheel drive. And that all-wheel drive, I need you guys to understand that it was best of a legend. And that was the Impreza. Back then it was called the WRX. It was conquering, the motorsports with, you remember the guy who drove the Impreza? Niambia hapo kwa comment. Anaitwa Colin? Give me the comments. Whoever gets it right na kutumia kreti ya punch. So that was the legacy of the WRX. So getting a Forester to be born out of that, of course, ultimately, it was going to attract the younger, more active, more enthusiastic young drivers who loved sport and still wanted a spirit of adventure, at the same time an SUV that felt like a car. And that's how the Forester was brought into play. And somehow, even right now, if you look at the Outback, most people who get to attract or get to buy the Outback are slightly older people, mature, 40 and above. But guys who get the Foresters, especially these ones and the turbo variants, you guys know what I'm talking about, are the younger guys. When you wanataka, chuk, 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 pale nyuma, okay? If you're an older guy still buying a Forester that does kuchu, 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 let us agree, we need to focus, yeah? Yeah, we need to focus. There's something, okay. Let's get to the review of the Forester SG, because I've given you a background, you understand where we are coming from. So if you're going to buy a Forester, I need you to understand, this is what Subaru has in mind. Are you a young, sporty, enthusiastic guy who wants a car that gives you adventure, a sporty drive, and still feel like a car? And what DNA did they translate to the Forester? Most specifically, this one parked next to me, the one that you guys refer to as the best Forester generation ever created. So let's agree, guys, if you're planning to buy a Forester, you know that thing that I told you guys about a timeless design? When a manufacturer gets to a point where everything just looks nice. The proportions are right, the design is nice, nothing has been exaggerated, nothing has been under-exaggerated. Everything just looks nice. You look at this car and you feel like whoever was coming up with this car in the year 2006, because it's a 2006 model, a facelift edition, was just nice, okay? But one thing I'll tell you, me as a boss, I love the pre-facelift edition. So I don't know about you, so tell me in the comments. Do you like this version of the SG or the previous? For me, I'm going with the previous because it had very aggressive lines. It borrowed a bit of design from the SF. Although the SF was, let's not discuss the SF, we'll get it one day on the channel, but the SF is what set us to this. So the previous, the pre-first gen is what I'm going with. Tell me in the comments, are you sticking with me or are you biting down to this one? So now this one is a very special edition of the Forester SG. It is the LL Bean. I'll talk to you about what the LL Bean means and all the other trims, the special edition that you can get if you're going to buy the Forester. But one thing that I need you to know is from the SF to this one, what Subaru did. And I think I need to show you. Let me just get the camera. So what Subaru did when they took this car is actually to increase the size. So if you look at the SF and you put it next to this car, you realize proportionally the SF is smaller, okay? And this one is slightly bigger in terms of proportion. But it has not been extended to extreme. You can see it has a long roof, it has a long length around it, and it's wide enough. But the proportions are perfect. Now this one has a dual tone going on in terms of color, and these are design you'll get when you're buying the Forester, where you have the lower color having a different one to the upper color. But in case you want one that comes fully in one paint, bado unaweza ipata, okay? Very beautiful, very awesome. People are going for the SUV-like look. And if you look at the windows, just look at how huge these windows are. And this is what people loved about the Forester. You sit in, visibility is quite awesome. You could look at the car at the front when you're driving very nicely. At the same time, your side profile is quite beautiful. The wheels, quite awesome, easy. Look at those profiles. The ground clearance was quite questionable during this time, but believe me, this is the best of what you could get in 206 in terms of having a car that will feel like an SUV, perform like an SUV, have AWD system that is legendary, and still take you anywhere and bring you back home. So this is proper, but I reckon that this one, there's something going on with the suspension there. You can see different color, meaning imefanyiwa kidogo adjustment ya kuinua juu. But very dope, beautiful car. Coming to the rear profile, and these are part of the things that make this car awesome. First of all, let me give a big shout out to Johnny's Wheels. Kuna jamaa anaitwa pale Kevo. He's the one who's made it possible for us to have this car. This car is on sale, by the way. If you want to buy it, they're giving it out at 900,000 Kenya shillings. But first, the rear profile, quite easy, quite conservative. E-time design ilikuwa hivi. Remember, at this point, we are actually competing with the RAV4s, we are competing with the CRVs, and this is what Subaru gives out. But they don't stop there. Now, if you guys have been missing Subaru, before I talk about practicality at the rear, is this one here, okay? And let me give back the camera so that we can talk about this. Now, one reason, there's somebody speaking here. Let me turn that one off. Ah, you guys are still here. Oh, perfect. So one reason why people always fight that Subaru has lost it, it has gone the Toyota way, is when we lost this. So this is a frameless door. Maybe I need to put the car on and just bring it down so that you guys can see it properly. Where's the key? Hey, gonna fungo. Yeah, this guy has taken the key. Show that guy. It's a very bad guy, that one. So here you go, frameless doors. These are part of the unique elements that we had back in the days when you're buying a Subaru. Very beautiful, very awesome. Now come back at the front, because this is again something that we need to discuss. So if you're buying the pre-facelift edition, the grille will be smaller. This was made slightly bigger, you know, to match up to the facelift edition. And being a Subaru, I expected this to go on because a bit of modifications here in terms of lighting, because these are the old golden lights. And naona huyu may smoke out, na imebidi ameongeza hii, meaning visibility is not the best. But I reckon you can actually upgrade and have even projectors on these headlights, which is dope. And right now the market is opening up, so you can get better headlights for this. But these was their signature design. Very simple with fog lights. Hapa. Remember the SF had very big fog lights, eh? Very beautiful and awesome. But if you're buying the pre-facelift edition, you realize that you have very aggressive lines just cutting across the entire side of this car, which made it very beautiful and iconic. Because it's a Subaru Forester and it's meant to go for adventure and do awesome stuff. Of course, you have disc at the front, disc at the rear for better stopping. Then if you come all the way to the rear, you know, they never lost this spoiler. Signature again. You know, this was a car that was designed in the 90s, 95, coming all the way. Now this is a 206, ending production of the SG to give room to a newer version of the Forester in 208. So these things that you're looking at, especially this one, is one very beautiful, iconic thing. And these are the elements that make this car special to people who buy it. And these are the things that make, again, people believe and trust that this is the most iconic, good-looking Forester of all time. Now, I told you about the L and L bin edition. So this is the Forester L and L. What does that mean? It means this is a premium version of the Forester. Now, if you buy this Forester, the SG, if you're going into the market to look at them, there are 4 categories, which I refer to as special editions. One of them is this one, the L and L bin, meaning pale ndani utakuja na beige interior, leather, you know, it's premium. And this was referred or sent to the export market. Mostly I'm talking about Australia, you know, those countries that love premium stuff. So if you get the same version of this, which is the premium version from Japan, itaitwa the air brake. Sawa sawa? And then we have what we call the backpack edition. Now the backpack was fully geared towards adventure. It will come with roof rails, it will come with very aggressive rims and tires, it will come with better ground clearance, even the suspension setup was slightly different. And then finally, the last one, the one that you guys love the most, and guys who love Foresters, especially the SGs, worship, is the Crossport. Now the Crossport is the one that came with the sporty accents, the wheels, the front bumper, the rear bumper, the interior design. In fact, down to even how the suspension was tuned. You know, it was just a sporty version of the Forester. So if you're going for the one that looks nicer and sporty, the one if you put in a turbo, it will do and look like the part, you go for the Crossport. So those are the special editions. Now, these editions I've talked about can actually come on any trim. And if you're getting them in either a 2-liter turbocharged or the 2.5 SG9 turbocharged, still you can get any of those trims in that, except in some markets where they didn't get a turbocharger, like the US market. They never got lucky to get a turbocharger. To gauge your practicality before we check under the hood of this car. Now, this is the reason why the Forester became a hit instantly it was produced in the market, because you actually get around 480-500 liters of practical boot space. He got boot space to say, like it was a car that was ready and prepared for adventure. Now, I don't know how to open this, but I reckon you have a full spare wheel. You guys can see it, it's there. So kuna kadonut hapo, okay, which made this car quite versatile for your adventure. And then hapa nyuma you also had a speaker. Yeah, the early days when we didn't have a big subwoofer. So you have a very nice speaker here. So in case you're going to the bundus, you sit here, unaweka muziki yako, and the sound will come from here, will ooze from here. And clearly you guys can see even the interior, they're having a bit of beige going on. And that is courtesy of the L&L bin edition of the Forester. But first, let's tuangalie what is under the hood so that you guys understand which will make the perfect choice of a Forester. And why do I think this will be the perfect choice for any guy who's not looking into going sports driving, sports dynamic, and they want fuel economy and still keep the dynamic shape and legacy of what the SG offers. This will be the right car. So tufungue hood, tuangalie. So under the hood of most Foresters or most Subarus, you'll find an engine that Subaru calls the Boxer engine. And you guys hear that name, and I don't know whether you guys question exactly what it means and why it's called the Boxer engine. It's called the Boxer engine because it's a flat 4. Now this one is 4 cylinders, but they had a variant which had 6 cylinders. So they would be called a flat 6, meaning pistons zinakuja namna hii. Normally, either you have a V, the piston will be traveling like this, right? And when you have your normal straight 6, kama zile za BMW, piston itakuwa ina travel juu. Sawa sawa? Then V like this, whether it's a V8, V12, V6. But now, Subaru came with a flat design, which means the piston are traveling. Is it horizontally or vertically? It is like that. I think this should be horizontal. Sindio Karis? Ini horizontal, eh? Vertical ni hivi. Ah, very nice. Sababu tulipita, lakini kidogo maneno ya horizontal na vertical lazima to confirm. So like that. Now, one thing that was special about that idea and concept is one, the engine was able to give this car what we call a lower center of gravity. And during that time, most cars will come with stickers that will warn you if you take corners with this car at a high speed or those other cars at a high speed, it will topple over and roll, okay? And remember, this is an era where most SUVs, most cars that wore the badge SUV were coming with a design that we refer to as a body on frame, meaning chassis na gari zinawachana. Body inakaa juu ya chassis, you understand? And those cars were not very good in terms of cornering and just handling, as you guys have witnessed with the Prado, right? The complaints you guys make. So now coming up with a crossover SUV. Remember, the SF is being referred to as a subcompact, okay? Because it was never considered as a crossover. Now, because of the size, the modular design of the SG, it is what translated now the Forester into the crossover market, directly competing with the RAV4s and the CRVs. Hapo tuko sawa. And the worst bit is the Forester kept on growing and became bigger and bigger. After here, we go to the SH and the SJ, and seemingly the Forester keeps on growing bigger. I don't know where they're going after. Same to the Outback, but let's go back here. So now that's the signature design of the Boxer engine. And what you have here is a 2-liter naturally aspirated EJ20, which is very good for fuel economy, a balance of power, and just overall daily drive. Sawa sawa? But in case you are bored with this, then you can get yourself the same engine with a turbo setup, which is now the EJ20T. Now that is what you get if you want a bit more power. And I will finish by saying I consider that the mid-choice between performance and fuel economy, and a place where an average person who doesn't want to go extreme will stick. But in case you are a guy who has, the head has gone way and you need a car that can do a lot of things, a car can literally smoke proper GDMs on the road or on the track, then you pick yourself what the Forester calls the SG9, okay? But from the Japanese market, it's what you'll refer to as the STI. Now it's a proper, I told you, back in the days, these cars were based on proper cars that were doing championships and winning legacies for Subaru. So STI, remember the previous Impreza was called a WRX. Then we moved into the STI era where now it is not CSTI ya hospitali, okay, not that STI, okay. It is Subaru Tecnica Internazionale, okay. That is the kind of STI I'm talking about. So that is what I'm talking about. So you can get that from the Japanese market. And that was a very powerful monster when it comes to performance. And that was secluded or uniquely set up for people who wanted extreme performance. Now get the SG9 in a cross-sport design of body and looks, bro. Why would you sell that car? In fact, those cars will set you back anything between 1.8 to 2 million Kenya shillings locally if you find one that has been kept in good condition. Now let's talk about problems. There's high chances and high probabilities that if you get an EJ20 turbo or an EJ25T, which is the STI, sawa, or the SG9, people who buy those cars are always inclined towards modification, power, and performance. So getting those ones in the local market, there is a high probability you'll find them modified, already running modifications. And if you have to buy one of those, then I need you to make room and make space to understand what has been done to that car and who has done those things to that car and why have they done to that car those things. And is it something that you will wish to live with before you get proper character development? Either the EJ20, the EJ25T. Those are questions you need to ask. But if you get one that has been designed or kept in a stock configuration, pay premium and get that car because they'll never let you down. It means it is you starting the journey of modding it or doing anything on it. But in case you want a car that is easy to live with, good fuel economy, still get the legacy of the SG series, then you get yourself the EJ20 non-turbo. This one that is under the hood of this car. And this particular one is paired to a 4-speed automatic transmission. Again, the legacy of the Subaru. At this point, you're still working on the automatics or 5-speed manual or 6-speed manual if you're going with the SG9 or the EJ20T. Sawa, very beautiful, awesome setups. And then from here, tulienda SH, tukaingia CVT, and I've never looked back on why people are buying the newer Subarus anymore. Because this is where Subaru had the authority to call itself Subaru. From there, I think it has become Subaru Toyota, if that is something that you guys will want to agree to, okay? So now, what other problems will you experience? Or what are the things that you need to check out if you're buying this car? If you're buying the EJ20 Turbo or the EJ25 Turbo, two things. Number one, gasket kuchomeka, and number two, the timing belt, okay? Same to this one. Make sure your gaskets are okay. Now, this being a flat 6, not a flat 6, a flat 4, this is what it means. It means you have 2 cylinders on one side, 2 cylinders on the other side facing each other. It means you have 2 gaskets. Ka gasket kamoja pande hii, ka gasket kangine pande hii. And those ones, if you push this car extremely, in most cases, those will fry. And you'll get yourself replacing those ones more oftenly. Timing belt kwa hii gari, 100,000 maximum, okay? And make sure you maintain this car quite appropriately and awesomely, and you'll have a proper ownership journey on these cars, right? Are you guys good with that? Let's check out the interior. Tuangalie, at this era, this time, was Subaru doing anything magical when it came to the interior? And the good thing, this engine, it is one of the easy engine to work on. Just look at how it's set up. Quite easy. The intake is there. Your throttle is there. You know, your timing, serpentine belt is here. Your alternator is here on the top. Yeah, quite easy. Na hapa bado tulikuwa tuna run steering wheel za ukweli. Pana zile Savotronic, zile za kupita kwa maji unaumia. Let's check out the interior of the L&L bin so that we see whether it's the one you need to buy. So let's get into it. Now, when it comes to the interior, conservative design. You can see we are running beige interior on this. And I believe it has been kept in very good condition, even though I won't agree. Nafikiri kunyuma kulikuwa na mauchafu walikuwa wanamwagilia kwa bado check out. But this era, it was quite simple and conservative. At this point, people are not going extreme with the design. So this was a very minimalistic design. Just look at it. Haina mambo mingi. You know, you could store some stuff there. You know, you have your airbag, normal functional steering wheel. Yeah, this, I believe it should be telescopic. Yeah. So you have the caliver there. You could go up and down, but you can't pull out and in. So climate controls ni nini, DIN1. Like, it was as simple, but the seats are quite comfortable. This car was not meant to go extreme bananas on you, okay? At least they had the adventure. You could put your stuff there. So most cars that were coming in this era, it was mandatory for you kuandika hapa. You see here, you have to draw here that this car would actually flip. So that when the passenger sits here, they look up and they're like, yeah, if this guy drives this car like a maniac, we are going to trip over and fall. So this was among the first few cars that never came with that sticker. That is for the EU market. In the Japanese market, the rest of the other guys didn't give a hook whether you guys were rolling over or not. But the European market, they were very strict in terms of what products you take there, whether they are safe for their people and all that. So it was a simple, minimalistic. This is what we call the LL bin package. Like, it is beige, both on the roof, both on the seats. You see, just clean. These, according to that time, they preferred these as a premium product. So kama ulikuwa unanunua black your time na cloth, we ni maskini. So, okay. What else do you guys want to talk about? So we check out the rear, because I'll talk about the rest of the other things when you're driving this car. Plus, during this time, we had heated seats, by the way. So at least these are part of the premium feature, so you could heat your bum, both for the passenger and the driver. Yeah. Let's see the rear. What does it have? I'm still digging the frameless doors. Just look. So awesome. Eh? But this is what you get again. There's nothing to talk about actually. But the seats are quite comfortable. One thing you clearly notice is you slightly sit higher in comparison to most cars in this category. Like, this was one of the design cue of having a Forester. You slightly sit higher, which is unique and special. Do I have anything here? Yeah, have an armrest. No cup holders, no nothing. Yeah, this would be a storage compartment. Nothing. So in terms of AC, tunanyonya AC ya mbele. Huku nyuma hakuna. Yeah. Let's drive this car. I don't think there's anything to talk about this car. Let's drive this car. Is it a budget car? Yes. 900? Yeah, you could do something. If I bought this car, I'll do a proper upholstery. Maybe just make this car, turn it into something awesome. Yeah. Let's drive the car. So one special thing about the SG and the Forester lineup is the fact that it came standard with AWD system. Dope and beautiful. And this one also came with independent suspension at the rear, at the front as well, which is dope and good. It means it felt more like a car you're driving. And it's just an interesting car to drive. It doesn't have a lot of those gushy stuff. This is 206 for crying out loud. There's nothing much to talk about in terms of how this car feels. But the fact that it feels like an SUV in terms of your sitting position, because you could actually see clearly and sit higher, at the same time drive like a normal car. That was the signature bit of why people preferred to buy the Forester. And the third thing is, you could actually take this car anywhere, you know, just like the RAV4, the CRVs, but enjoy more of a driver feel on the road. And of course, it will outperform the RAV4s and the CRVs of that time, because it had turbo options and it was based on a sports car, which is why people buy the Foresters, especially this SG, away from the looks and the frameless doors and the fact that you still get the DNA, the Subaru DNA. This being a natural aspirated and a 4-speed automatic, of course, it's very long gear ratios. It will take you time before you go to 100. I remember last time we had a review of the Forester SG on the channel. We go to 100. This particular one, the 2-liter NA, 18 seconds. I know that car had a bit of issues. I'll do better this one, but this one will come in hand in terms of fuel economy. So you'll average here anything between 9 to 11 kilometers on the liter, depending with how you drive this car. But averagely, it was an easy car to drive in terms of fuel economy. The people who buy this car will buy it for fuel economy and nothing much. So I know the question you guys are asking is, away from the looks, away from the generation, how they increased the size of this car and they just made it more of an SUV. Does the Forester give us, this SG, does it give us anything more when it comes to the driving dynamics? And the answer is yes, especially if you're going for the turbocharged variants, the 2-liter turbocharged or the 2.5 turbocharged. Yeah, you'll get a lot of driver feel and driver dynamics and driver handling and driver efficiency. Like, it's a fun car to drive. Itakutoka mbaya sana usione mahali imeendea. But with this particular one, nah. I don't think this is a car you buy to do all those things. This is a car for the more relaxed versions of people, or those ones who are looking for the aesthetics and the value that the SG provides, but in a more relaxed version like this one, where fuel economy is a primary goal and versatility and adventure drive is another. But performance, the driver dynamics, not in the 2-liter NA. This one is for those people. So, without further ado, in terms of value for money, that this car provides a proper value for money. Let's discuss that when I take a stop, because there's nothing much interesting about driving this car, away from the fact that it's an SG, and people feel happy when they see you driving it. But I've just seen an XT or an SG9 version just when I was exiting the mall, and it looked proper and awesome. I'll just put pictures here and videos. So let's talk about value for money. Does this car offer a proper value for money? My answer is yes. If you're looking for a timeless Subaru Forester, a car that has an iconic look like this one here, the car that will give you proper value in terms of adventure, versatility, and all those nicer things that you want to do with a car, I believe this car is that car that you're looking for. There is no absolute doubt on the reasons why this is always referred to as the best generation of the Forester ever designed. I reckon if you get it in the Crossport version, it will be better, it will be much nicer. But this one, for those who are looking for premium feel, again, this is still an awesome car. So does it offer value for money if you're buying it for anything between 800, 900, 1 million Kenya shillings, depending on the condition that that car has been kept in? And my answer is absolutely yes. Just make sure you follow the tips I've given you and you get yourself an awesome car. In case you are not sure about the car you're getting, you're always free to give us a call. Number itakuwa hapa chini. We can always guide you and help you get yourself a proper car. And you have one like this that is turbocharged, the SG9 or the STI, and you'll want your boy to copy it and take it for a spin and a drive, please reach out again. Those numbers are in the description. I'll have the pleasure to take it around for a spin and tell these awesome people how it feels to properly own and drive an SG Forester. I've been your boy, Ibrahim Toloy again. Catch you on the next episode on Conversation Midweek. Nimesema niwaletee redriven ya local used because tumewapatia foreign used. Kasema kwa sababu nyinyi ni watu wangwana na watu wangu of local used. Kasema niwakumbuke na ka Forester, watu wa budget ya 800, 900, 100, si ndio? So tell me, which other car do you want to see on the channel? And I'll have the pleasure to bring it for you or to you. Remember to subscribe. Road to 200k subs is on the way. Tukipiga 200 subs, 200k, hey, niko na bash, niko na presents, niko na ma gifts. So make sure you reach us there. If you haven't subscribed, please take a moment, take an itch. Do it for us because we do this as a team. Bye-bye and see you on the next one.